Xiaomi's brand new Redmi 6 models have been launched specifically to reinforce the company's domination in the entry-level phone segment, and the Redmi 6A is the very lowest price model of them all. Starting at an introductory price of just 5,999 rupees, the new Redmi 6A neatly replaces the Redmi 5A and brings just enough new features and updates to fend off newer competitors. Let's see if this is still the best choice for you if you're on a shoestring budget. The first thing you'll notice about this phone is that Xiaomi has brought a fashionable 18:9 screen to the very bottom of its price ladder. The screen has slightly rounded corners, which is a nice touch. You don't get a bezel-free look at this price, and there's still quite a bit of space to the top, bottom and sides of the screen, but the overall look is still fairly slick. The body of the Redmi 6A is all plastic, which shouldn't come as any surprise. Our black review unit looked good, though some smudges did become apparent on the rear over the course of multiple days. On the left, there are two individual trays, one for a single nano SIM and the other for another nano SIM, and also a separate micro SD card. The Redmi 4A can use 4G data on either SIM. VoLTE HD is supported on one SIM at a time, regardless of which slot it's in. The speaker is on the lower rear, which means that your ringtone and alerts could be muffled when this phone is lying on a bed or other soft surface. There's no fingerprint reader. There usually isn't much to get excited about in the budget market, but Xiaomi has found at least one little advantage to give its newest entry-level phone. Xiaomi has switched to MediaTek's brand new Helio A22 processor, which marks the debut of a new Helio A-series branding scheme for MediaTek's entry-level offerings. It's manufactured using a power-efficient 12nm process, which could give battery life a significant boost. The Redmi 6A ran for 13 hours 22 minutes in our HD video loop test thanks to this power-efficient SoC, the 3000 mAh battery and MIUI's software optimizations. With our everyday usage, we made it through a 10-hour working day and the rest of the evening. If you don't use your phone for much, you should be able to stretch to a day and a half between charges. On the downside, a full charge from zero took us nearly 3 hours. The Redmi 6A is available with either 16GB or 32GB of storage, and both variants have 2GB of RAM. Our review unit was the 16GB version, and we found that we had just under 10GB of usable space when setting it up. MicroSD support goes up to 256GB. The 18:9 screen measures 5.45 inches diagonally and has a resolution of 720 by 1440. The screen is good enough for watching videos and playing games on, and we had no major complaints in terms of vibrancy, color reproduction or viewing angles considering the price of this phone. The Redmi 6A runs MIUI 9.6, which is based on Android 8.1. Our unit had already received the August 2018 Android security patch. There's no official word on any release timeframe for an update to Android 9 Pie. MIUI hasn't changed much over the years, and with stock Android One gaining popularity, it's beginning to show. The default Facemoji keyboard has a lot going on with emojis, stickers, GIFs, themes and more. The one big thing that jumped out at us was the amount of advertising that's now baked into MIUI. We saw quite a few spammy alerts from the Mi App Store using peer pressure tactics to try to make us download specific apps. Moreover, there were full-screen interstitial ads whenever we launched the Themes app or used the Storage Center function within the Settings app, and there were ads in the Security app as well. Very few of these apps can be removed. Mi Music and Mi Video are also full of promotional content. If this is the trade-off for low-cost phones, we wouldn't be surprised to see even hardcore Xiaomi fans gravitating towards stock Android. That isn't to say that MIUI is all bad. There's still loads of features including useful gestures, UI customization options, the ability to clone and lock apps, and fine-grained color tone adjustment. There's also face recognition, but Xiaomi warns that it might be fooled by a photo of you. The Redmi 6A for the most part was not frustrating to use. There was some lag when flipping through the task switcher and exiting from apps back to the home screen, but we could live with that. On rare occasions, it took a second or two for many apps, including the basic messaging app, to be usable after loading. You can hide the on-screen Android navigation buttons and use gestures instead, but we found that to be extremely slow. The keyboard was also a bit of a problem, but Google's Gboard is preloaded and ready to go. Android is trained with only 2GB of RAM, and we noted anywhere between 650 MB and 1.2 GB free during use. The rear camera has a 13-megapixel sensor, f2.2 aperture and PDAF. Our sample shots came out looking relatively good with acceptable levels of detail and sharp focus. There were a few shots in which we could see that focus hadn't locked on the ideal spot, and small bright objects or parts of the frame did get blown out quite badly. Colors were generally bright and vibrant too. At night, we definitely had to be careful about standing still and not shaking the phone, but shots were still fairly decent as long as there was a light source nearby. Areas in the shadows just came out looking completely black. One problem we found was that no matter what conditions we were shooting in, the Redmi 6A often took a full second or more to save a shot, leaving us waiting before we could take the next one. Video recording goes up to 1080p, but it is shaky and a little jerky, with constant minor focus shifts. Video taken in bright sunlight looked a bit artificial and over-sharpened. The 5-megapixel front camera does a serviceable job, but again this is entry-level quality and nothing beyond that. The camera app has time-lapse and panorama modes. Nice touches include an auto HDR setting, an on-screen level overlay to help you frame shots, a tilt shift filter, and multiple scene modes. There is a manual mode as well, and buried within the settings panel are a few options for exposure and metering control. The Redmi 6A is a fairly good update to the Redmi 5A. You now get a tall screen, better processor, and improved overall polish. The price of 5,999 rupees is still very good, especially considering the recent slide in the Indian rupees exchange rate, but it isn't quite as tempting as the Redmi 5A was at 4,999 rupees. This is also just an introductory price, and we don't yet know how long it will last or how much it will increase to after that. If you can spend a little more money, you might prefer the 3GB RAM and 32GB storage variant of the Redmi 6, which also has a fingerprint sensor and a better processor. As for its competition, the Redmi 6A delivers a superior experience to the equally priced Coolpad Mega 5A and the more expensive Honor 7S. Even if its price rises by up to 1,000 rupees, we think the Redmi 6A will remain the better choice. That was our review of the Xiaomi Redmi 6A. Thanks for watching, and for more reviews and videos like this, do visit us at gadgets360.com.